grounding of Boeing 737 MAX 8 aircraft, the plane that crashed. Witnesses said the plane nosedived into remote farmland southeast of the Ethiopian capital, reducing the plane to small pieces of debris buried deep in the earth. People of 35 nationalities were killed in the crash. In a document distributed by the airline to family members who lost loved ones in the crash, Ethiopian Airlines laid out a timetable for the return of victims' belongings and the distribution of death certificates. The crash of Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 was the second deadly incident for the 737 MAX 8 following the October crash of an Indonesian Lion Air jet that killed all 189 passengers and crew. At least 43 people died in central Mozambique and Zimbabwe after a tropical cyclone tore through the southern African nations, knocking out electricity and phone networks and cutting power to South Africa from a hydropower dam. The storm, the worst to hit Mozambique in at least a decade, had wind speeds for more than 200 kilometers per hour before it made landfall early Friday. The storm damaged the Mozambican transmission line in South Africa, cutting supplies by 900 megawatts and worsening an electricity shortage in South Africa. Power utility Eskom on Saturday pumped up rational load, shedding from stage 2 to stage 4 due to a shortage of capacity exacerbated by the loss of 900 megawatts from Mozambique Fin24. Flooding in the region affected by the storm had already killed more than 60 people. While the storm has dissipated since crossing over land, there is still heavy rains over Mozambique and eastern Zimbabwe. At least 19 people died in Mozambique, according to the government, while a further 24 perished in Zimbabwe, state-owned Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation reported. We'll take a short break and we'll come back. We'll bring you stories from the foreign scene. Stay with us. An update on the New Zealand's mosque shooting. We understand that bodies of some of the victims in the shooting will be released on Sunday to loved ones for burial. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has said. This comes as the death toll rose to 50 with the discovery of another body by the police. Australian Brenton Tarrant, who is 28, a suspect white supremacist, was charged with murder on Saturday. Tarrant was remanded without a plea and is due back in court on April 5, where police said he was likely to face more charges. Friday's attack, which Ardern labelled terrorism, was the worst ever peacetime mass killing in New Zealand, and it has raised the insecurity threat level to the highest. Footage of the attack on one of the mosques in the city of Christchurch was broadcast live on Facebook, and a manifesto denouncing immigrants as invaders was also posted online via links to related social media accounts. Huge piles of flowers were laid at sites near the mosque, and passerbys of all faiths stopped to pay respects. Ardern said police would be posted at all mosques while they are open. Police Commissioner Mike Bush said the body of the 50th victim was found at the Awanor Mosque, where more than 40 people died after a gunman entered and shot at people with a semi-automatic rifle with high-capacity magazines before traveling to a second mosque. Flash floods in Indonesia's easternmost province of Papua have killed at least 50 people and badly injured dozens of others. The town of Sentani, near the provincial capital Jayapura, was hit by flash floods triggered by torrential rain on Saturday, National Disaster Agency spokesman Sutopo Purwo said in a statement. A search operation was still underway, he warned that the death toll could rise. At least 9 houses, 2 bridges and a twin utter plane parked at the region's main airport were damaged by the floods. But the Sentani airport, the province's main transport hub, remains open. Disaster authorities have warned local governments of flash flood risk due to deforestation in the mountains surrounding the town. More than 120 residents who had taken shelter at government offices after their homes were hit by the floods, the disaster agency said earlier. Prime Minister Theresa May warned lawmakers that unless they approve a Brexit divorce deal after 2 crushing defeats, Britain's exit from the European Union could face a long delay and could involve taking part in European Parliament elections. After 2.5 years of tortuous divorce negotiations with the EU, the final outcome is still uncertain, with options including a long delay, exiting with May's deal, a disorderly exit without a deal, or even another referendum. May issued Brexit supporters an ultimatum: ratify her deal by a European Council summit on March 21 or face a delay to Brexit way beyond June 30 that would open up the possibility that the divorce could be ultimately thwarted. The Prime Minister bluntly warned that Britain will be forced to take part in European parliamentary elections expected to take place at the end of May if there is a longer extension to Brexit talks. EU leaders will consider pressing Britain to delay Brexit by at least a year to find a way out of the domestic maelstrom, though there is a shock and growing impatience at the political chaos in London. Up next is our business news. Four states, namely Benue, Delta, Kogi and Ondo, have indicated a slow-paced growth in food prices according to reports from the National Bureau of Statistics. Likewise, Consumer Goods Price Index also dropped to 11.31% in February. According to the report, year-on-year CPI, which measures inflation, was lower by 0.06 percentage points, lower than the 11.37% rate recorded in January. Urban inflation rate also increased by 11.59% year-on-year in February from 11.66% recorded in January, while the rural inflation rate increased by 11.05% in February from 11.11% in January 2019. Still in business, the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council has made public its mobile app and online application for public service feedback and complaints. The platform is expected to enable business owners to escalate and resolve challenges encountered with ministries, departments and agencies for a seamless business-friendly environment. The app was launched by Okechukwu Enalema, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Adedotun Suleiman, Chairman, Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, and Jumoke Oduwole, SSA to the President on Industry, Trade and Investment. The bank was established in July 2016 to remove delays and restrictions that come with doing business in Nigeria and make the country an easier place to start and grow a business. It is also supported by Executive Order 001 EO1 signed in 2017 to promote transparency and efficiency in the business environment. Still ahead on Plus TV African News is a roundup on entertainment and sports. We're back in a moment. Stay with us. Veteran actor and comedian Babatunde Omidina, popularly known as Babasuwe, has been discharged from Lagos University Teaching Hospital. Actor Yomi Fabiyi confirms the news in an Instagram post. He wrote, "I can confirm to you that efforts to quickly stabilize and or completely treat him to full wellness by medical experts at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital at the instance of Minister of Health are yielding positive results, as Babasuwe can now walk without the stick, less pain, and is getting better. He will, however, proceed abroad very soon to further his treatment." We certainly wish him a speedy recovery. And that's it on entertainment. Sports is up next, and Samson is standing by.
In sports, the quarterfinals of the FA Cup produced classics with lots of goals scored. Watford and Wolverhampton Wanderers had convincing wins over Crystal Palace and Manchester United respectively to move into the semis, while Manchester City came from a 2-goal deficit to controversially edge Swansea City. Here are the highlights. And that's it on Sports Updates. I'm Samson Oluide.
Thank you, Samson. And that's our news roundup of events at this hour. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel that is also at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Do please join us again. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely day.
That is how we get looped into a cycle of insanity, repeating the same thing and expecting a different result. That cycle of failure is unsustainable and it has to end now.
Infection train is back.
They take us to the push and start asking us to call our people to send more people.
What can be done as an intervention for them right now to stop abuse of all children?
Hello and welcome. This is Tea Time, where we either bring you the biggest entertainment stories or in-depth interviews with interesting people in the glitzy world of showbiz. I'm Tokumbo Taiwo and I'm here with the regulars, Elsie Godwin and Ife Oshunke. Hi guys.
What's up?
Okay, so I think we're starting first with Will Smith. I don't know if you guys saw the video, you know, him twerking, and apparently there's some kind of question mark to do with his sexuality based on that twerk video. So I don't know, Elsie, what say you regarding I mean, did you even think the twerk was good enough, let alone...
That is not even a twerk.
Exactly.
Like, if you had done something close to what Bobrisky would do, then maybe I want to question
yeah. Because I saw it too and I was like, this isn't anything close to anything that is really good.
Besides,
so
right
I'm like...
from the Fresh Prince, we all knew Will Smith was goofy. So I just think this is Will Smith goofing around, and it's nothing to question
his sexuality, because they really talked about it. I was like, seriously, guys, it had like 10 million views on his Instagram page, and then they've taken it all the way to Twitter, and they've been questioning not just his sexuality, but the one of his son as well. I'm like, okay, people.
Yeah, but
we understand
the son, and his son has even called the guy his lover before. So yeah. Tyler, the creator.
And maybe that is why people are trying to get into his life and link this to...
They were linking it. Yeah, it's not even trying. They were linking it, you know. So
I don't... This doesn't look...
It doesn't look like it. Exactly. All right. So moving on to something else.
We're still connected to Will Smith anyway. Okay. Jada Pinkett, Red Table Talk, has gotten 20 more episodes on Facebook Watch. So it has been extended, and yeah, and they said the one that had Jordan Woods on it had about 7.5 million views in less than 24 hours.
Exactly.
I was like, wow, in less than 24 hours, 7.5 million views. So,
I mean, even if Facebook didn't have it in mind to extend, that episode
alone
is enough to say, okay, we're doing this another.
But to be fair, though, you know, the Red Table Talk has actually brought a lot of stuff to the limelight, you know, from when they started, from the time when they started exposing their own personal secrets, their own marriage secrets, you know, to the point where it was a complete build-up.
The show has been
it's been successful. It's been successful so far. So I think, like you said, deserves to be extended.
All right, I think it's time to move on. As we mentioned earlier, it's not business as usual today. We do have a studio guest. She's a princess, she's an actress, she's the CEO of a media company. She's not just a social media enthusiast, but a digital marketer and a brand influencer as well. And she's so good at what she does. She was the winner of the most influential influencer in Nigeria for the year 2018. And with over 90,000 followers each, on both Twitter and Instagram, ladies and gentlemen, I present Ifeoluwa Adegoke, popularly known as Ife Love.
Thank you.
Ife, you don't know your son, or you don't know what you do.
No, you know Ife, he's always going to use the name as the...
You don't know what you do.
Anyway, good to have you on the show.
Are you a digital marketer?
Your name is Ife, Abi?
Yeah.
My name is Ife, right?
And her son name is Adegoke.
Do not be swayed.
I'm Ife Adegoke.
Thank you,
I'm Ife Oshike Adegoke. I'm taking your last name.
There's something in there that Ife is referring to. I don't know, maybe he wants to take your ring. I don't know what his...
Oh.
Would you give me a ring?
In India.
I like that.
My son is...
Okay, so...
All right, so let's start with you. And one of the things that I saw about you, you know, one of the things that made like... one of the biggest headlines, I think, last year was when you had an incident with SARS. So I wanted to start with that before we even talk about it in great detail. Because apparently one of the things that you did was, you know, draw attention to the corrupt official in question, you know. So take us through that incident. What happened? What led you to making that decision to actually, you know, bring it to the limelight?
Okay, what actually happened that day was we were going for a shoot. That was my first time shooting with Oluwadolas. So they came to pick me up in Surulere. We went to Ikorodu to shoot. And on our way going to the location, he had to pick a friend of his in Ikorodu as well. So we got there, he picked the guy. As we were leaving that street, like we're trying to link the main road back, then these guys came in this small bus. Like they crossed us. I was even scared because I thought we were about to be robbed. So they came down. Then I saw FSARS behind them. So I was like, okay, what's going on? And they came with guns, like 4 men. They came with guns. They were shouting, "You guys should come down with that car." This, that, like the whole noise was just too much. Like, what's going on? I was scared. They were pointing the gun at us. Now, what have we done? So we came down with the car. They said we should join the bus. They had one of them joined the other guy driving. So then when we were in the bus, I was like, what's wrong? Like, what have we done? Why would you ask us to come? And they said, no, we have to go back, that we are robbers, we are cultists, we are this, we are that. Like, that was my first experience. I was scared, and I was angry at the same time. Like, you just don't stop people on the road and just say they're cultists.
Anybody, exactly.
Okay, so has there been any problem on in this street, like before we we got there or something, you know, things might have happened and they needed people to arrest. So I was like, okay, they said, no, but you are cultists, you are robbers. And that small bus, you know those small buses they used to pack tomatoes from? I don't know, the bus was so small and I was at the back. And you know, we were 3 there, 3 other SARS guys. And I was just like, I need space, I need air. I was feeling nauseated. I told one of them that they need to pull off, like I need to calm down, that this heat is too much. The guy was like, he will slap me into coma. I was like, okay, you guys are messing with the wrong person.
Exactly, it's like they had no idea who you were.
No idea. So I said, no problem. They took us to the station. They were there. We got there. We saw some other guys, shirtless guys on the floor. They were seated there. And the guys were like, okay, so if we don't cooperate, we'll have to join these guys. Like, they took us to the station. They didn't take us through the normal procedure. You know, when you go to the station, there's a place you drop your phone, you do this, you fill a form before you go to see whoever you want to see. But they took us behind the main building. So behind that main building, there was one uncompleted building. That was where we saw the guys, the shirtless guys. They were like 10. So the guy was like, one of the SARS guys were like, oh, see, if you don't cooperate, you're still going to join these guys. So you just have to cooperate with whatever we are saying. Okay, what are you saying? You said we are cultists. They collected phone from everybody. They checked through the phone. They didn't find anything. So then allow us go. They said we can't go like that. That we had to pay them 100,000. Wow. For what now? For being a Nigerian or for just going about doing our business? Like, I was frustrated. They delayed us to like 3 hours because I told them that we are not paying 100,000 for what? Then at the end of the day, the guys, Oluwadolas that I went to, it was like, okay, let's just give them 10K. I said, we're not even paying them anything.
All right, you know what? We're running out of time. So, sorry to cut in, you know, but can you like get to the summary? Yeah, it's summary. Yeah.
Okay, so at the end of the day, I just said, okay, I would make the payment. I took my phone. I asked them for their account number. I told them we don't have cash. And as God will have it, they didn't get it. They said, okay, one of them just released his account number. And even the other ones wanted to fight him. And it was like, he has ATM that he could withdraw. You understand? So I took the account number. I transferred the money. When they saw the alert, they allowed us go. And after the old shoots, while I was going over, that was when I just put it online, tagged Yomi Shogunle and Nigerian police, this, that. And you know, you can't overemphasize the power of media.
All right, so let's quickly go on a break. Hopefully we'll talk more about it or summarize, and then that will be right after this break. But when we return, we'll continue the conversation with actress and brand influencer Ife Love. We'll be right back.
Mr. Bello speaking. Who is this?
Hello, Mr. Bello. My name is Gloria, and I'm calling regarding the family savings scheme form you dropped off last week. Do you remember?
Yes. I remember now.
The form is missing your signature. Do you mind stopping by sometime this week?
Don't know if I go do water.
Not a problem. We will come to you.
We go walk with you, oh. No matter where you stay, we get you from mine. We go follow penny price. Say we get you from mine.
Everyone is on a journey to build a brighter future. Let's help you take tomorrow, today. Access Bank. Speed, service, security.
Welcome back. You're watching Tea Time right here on Plus TV Africa. If you're just joining us on the program, we're chatting to actress and brand influencer Ife Love. You're telling us a wonderful story before the break, and I think Elsie has a question.
Yeah, you know, before this incident, you were one of the influencers on social media trying to push the NSAS reform.
Yes, yeah.
So is it the reform or the NSAS? Both parts,
NSAS,
right?
yeah.
And after you had this experience, what did it do to you? Because it's different being on social media and saying this needs to end without having to experience it. But when you experienced it, what did it change in you?
Yeah, when I actually had that experience, that really made me determined. Like, I was so determined that these people really actually need to go. At some point where I was supporting the NSAS campaign, we know we have some bad guys and only these SARS people can take care of that. But then when I saw that what they do is
harass others.
Yeah, the way they harass people, it's more than what they're asked to do, like their own job description. Like what they do on a daily basis is now harassing people. They don't even face their own line of work anymore. So then, when I had this incident, I had the opportunity to meet with I didn't meet with Yomi Shogoleb, yeah, but the AIG.
Okay.
Yeah, the one in Zone 2 in Lagos. I had the opportunity to meet with him. Then there was one other police officer with us, I think the ACCID. While the ACCID was complaining, because I was actually angry and I was speaking bitterly. Even he had to take up the case because he said the case was from the IG. You know, it's media, so they want to try to like limit the damage, you understand? So then I had the opportunity to speak with him and I was like, sir, this is one of the reasons why this SARS thing needs to go. Like, we really need to end this SARS.
But do you think it's over?
Yeah, but I think it's better. Like,
I don't know if you saw the video that emerged 2 days ago about the police officer that was saying that Yahoo boys or fraudsters that do not want to give them money, they will keep arresting them.
I saw that, and it's really sad that that is going on in this country. It's very, very sad. But I think it was better because the man was actually angry too, like the way he was talking to other police. They had to hold a meeting, which I was there, and the way he took the case, I think one of those guys has been sacked.
Exactly, I was going to ask you about that because they sacked him at the end of it. But did you feel any kind of justification knowing that he was sacked at the end of the day?
Okay, not really.
Did you feel bad about it?
I actually didn't feel bad because if you were there, if you saw the way they pointed gun at us, like they were going to shoot, all because of how much, I didn't actually feel bad because I saw him before he was being sacked. I was at the Zone 2 office. He came and he was even trying to reach out to me like I should help him back that he's been working for 30 years in just 2 years. He has 7 kids. I said, you have 7 kids and you're still doing like
wanted
this.
To kill another person's child.
Of course.
But do you think one person should have taken the brunt of all of them because they
that
were...
is the problem. That is where I'm not really fine with. Because
you're not satisfied
I'm
that
not satisfied.
All of them should have been, really.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because they had to, it's like they putting it on that man because he was the one who released his account number.
Okay, so they ganged up on him.
All right, let's talk about you as a brand influencer, comedian, and actress. You know, how did all this start for you?
Oh, okay, I don't know. It's just that acting has been my thing, though, from forever. But then, doing it for a whole lot of people started last year. Yeah, so even brand influencing started like a few years ago. I think 2 years ago. So it's been stressful. Like when you think about doing something with digital marketing, when you're like doing an extra thing, if it's not in line with digital marketing, it's always very stressful. But there, because you actually need to put more into you, put more time, like dedicate more hard work. Because if a brand comes to you this time around and you actually didn't deliver well, they won't come next time. So you have to just give it all it takes. And acting too takes time. There are sometimes you would have to act and you will be at location for 2-3 days. You have to stay there overnight, even when you didn't plan sleeping there. So, but then, because it's what I love to do. So,
how do you combine the two together? Because, like you say, each one in its own right is actually very demanding. Not to talk about adding two things that are both demanding. How do you combine the two together?
And that's what I said. It's because it's one thing I love doing. So, both just, I just take both like a way of life, like I'm living. So that's.
You see, the reason why I keep asking is that, you know, I can't see you acting and then doing your digital media influencing, you know, at the same time. So how do you like work out the hours?
Yeah, I don't. It's not possible you do it simultaneously. But then you can't be on set for forever.
Okay.
Like you have.
So any little space you have,
I'm always with my phone.
Oh,
so when you know me, you know that I'm always either on my phone or my laptop if I'm not acting.
Okay.
So,
do you not think that's antisocial to the other people that are present?
I know it depends. Okay, if it's a social gathering, yeah, I would talk, would relate. But then, even while we're doing all those stuff, I'm very playful when I'm comfortable with you. So I like to meet new people. I like to talk, and at the same time, I do my work.
Okay.
So let's talk about your skits. The ones you do with Oluwadolas, and I think you do some yourself, right? What comes up with the ideas?
Okay, the one with Oluwadolas comes. He comes up with the ideas. He's very creative, so comes up with the script. And sometimes we might just be there to do something else, and real life scenario, something will just happen, and we all will be like, let's.
Because I was going to ask that.
Let's do the skit.
I was going to say, do you guys have like a written script that you follow line for line, like to tell you this is what you should say and all of that? Rehearsals before?
No, not really.
So it's all natural, it just flows?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so Elsie?
Okay, I mean, I see her more as an influencer than an actress. So I wanted to get your take on...
your space, right?
I wanted to get your space. I wanted to get your take on digital marketing, the market itself right now. People are saying it's getting to a point where it will come to an end, while even the foreigners that you say you got this from are saying they are at their peak right now. And we know we've not scratched the surface, but we're saying it's dying at the same time. What's your take on that industry?
Okay, I think digital marketing has come to stay, because the world is actually going digital everywhere. Even when you have brands that Baba Ijebu is on social media, there are several brands that you never thought of being on social media. So digital marketing has come to stay. Like look at there was one thing before I resigned my job. There was one time we went to NIBS, and all we did for them is like put everything in their archive, like every document they have. Every hard copies to make them soft copies. Like every organizations are trying to do this, even NNPC. So digital marketing has come to stay.
Okay, so I probably used the wrong word. I think I was going to be very direct and place it on influencer marketing.
Okay, influencer marketing.
So do you think it is dying or it is just starting?
Oh, okay. In Nigeria, influencer marketing is just starting.
Okay.
Like influencer marketing, we've actually not explored to an extent. I think it's just starting, in my own opinion.
Right.
So would you like to move a bit higher from being a brand influencer to a brand ambassador?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, so you'd rather be a brand ambassador than an influencer?
Being a brand ambassador doesn't stop you from being an influencer.
Yeah, because I still don't get it, because I think the whole idea of having a brand ambassador is to influence people to that brand,
being
right?
a brand ambassador.
So I want to get the difference from...
The difference... Okay, maybe you should do the answer.
Being a brand ambassador, you're actually influencing your own audience to actually buy the brand or to fall in love with the brand. You understand? So being a brand ambassador, you're actually still influencing. So I don't really see
that's what I said. Like, so what's the difference?
Okay, basically the difference is the exclusivity.
Money.
The exclusivity and the money.
Oh, okay.
So if I'm influencing this phone, for example, I'm not going to get on any other job that has to do with this phone. But the money has to be times 3 or 4 because it is exclusive.
Okay.
That's the difference.
If you are You mean if you're a
An
brand ambassador?
yeah.
Exactly.
But you can still influence for any other product that is not in that space.
So even if you are influencing the brand, you can't still do something. Some brands, you can't still do something for other competitive brands. But it's just for a period of time.
If it's not spelled out.
If it's not spelled, but it's still for a period of time. Yeah. But for brand ambassador, for the time your contract is still on, you can't even. You must not be caught using, not even influencing, using other competitive brand products.
All right, so you talked about digital marketing, you know, and the benefits and stuff. So I want to clarify what your take on, you know, other traditional means of marketing. Do you think that's dying down since there's an emergence and rise in digital marketing? Do you think the other traditional means are dying down?
Not really, but I think digital marketing makes marketing easier. Like it make it easier. Like we don't have everybody on social media. We still have all these women on the streets. We still have all these kids, all our old people on the street that don't know what Twitter is. There was a time my dad called me, what is this Twitter that everybody is always talking about? I don't want him to come on Twitter. I was like, you don't need it. I'm not sure it's something you would like to come on, you understand? So there's still a lot of people that don't know what Twitter is.
But do you think there's coming a time when it will actually completely die down? Because like we say, you know, the world is evolving, the world is becoming a global village, and people are getting more and more aware. So if all these people finally come onto social media, do you think that old methods will eventually die down?
Yeah, I think with time, but for now it's still very, very active.
Okay. All right, that's it. Unfortunately, we're out of time.
Sadly.
Yes. So that's precisely where we're going to wrap up this afternoon. We're back on Monday, though, with a brand new episode of the program. Until then, a big thank you to my co-anchors, Ife, Elsie, the entire production team as well, and of course, our studio guest, actress and brand influencer, Ife Love. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
It's been like, it's been like we've had you for only 3 minutes. I wish we had more time. I am Tokumbo Taiwo saying thanks for watching, and from all of us here, have yourself a lovely evening.
That is how we get looped into a cycle of insanity, repeating the same thing and expecting a different result. That cycle of failure is unsustainable, and it has to end now.
Perfection Train is back.
They take us to the bush and start asking us to call our people to send money.
What can be done as an intervention for them right now to stop abuse of all children?
This Medan has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
We now start hearing the shoot of gun.
Whatever I've done.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
Across many states of Nigeria, there's water everywhere, but none to drink. The states of Kogi, Niger, Taraba, Benue, Anambra, Cross River, Delta, and Plateau have seen deadly floods over the past few weeks, and there are concerns that in the coming weeks more states may be submerged. So far, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has announced a death toll of over 100 across the states. In its 2018 seasonal rainfall prediction, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, predicted higher water volumes on the Earth's surface, attributed to a shift in rainfall pattern caused by climate change. But it didn't just happen.
You're getting like maybe 3 weeks rain, or sometimes even 4 weeks rain, falling in one day. The volume of rain that's coming down because of this global warming that's causing the climate change. And it's basic physics. You warm water, it evaporates. The more heat you apply to the water, the more evaporation. Rain comes from evaporated water that's coming from various water bodies. We're applying more heat to those water bodies, the rain is there. So we're going to get far heavier rain.
With rising flood levels, the level of water contamination has also increased. There are therefore concerns that isolated cases and deaths from cholera, initially reported in Kwara, Katsina, and more recently in Yobe State, as well as a UN report on cholera outbreak in the Lake Chad region, have increased the chances of a full-blown epidemic, which may overwhelm the already overstretched Nigerian public health infrastructure.
That's with the funding of the health system. The funding of the health system is abysmally low, both from the federal and the state institutions. We have the ratio of 1 doctor to 5,000 or 6,000. So we are short of, for every 500 doctors, for every 1,000 doctors, we are short by 9 doctors.
Like water supply, sanitary disposal. When you deal with that, you won't be discussing issues of cholera. So we have issues of cholera mainly in poor countries, so to speak, or countries who do not have the facilities or the resources to initiate long-term projects for water supply and sanitary disposals, or countries who do not put the political will to doing that. Cholera, as Private would have mentioned, is in 2 phases. There is the role of the community, and of course there's the role of the governing body of the community, which is the government in this case. Make sure your source of water for drinking and cooking is sure and is portable. If that were not the case and you're not sure, you boil. Make sure your water is really boiled. Okay? Then number 2, hand washing technique will go a long way in saving everyone. When you come out back from work or from interacting with people, before handling anything that goes into your mouth, you wash your hands. In a community where the sewage disposal is not so good, that already imposes a higher risk for that environment. But for someone who has developed, who has cholera, the first point of call again is not just being at home, it's going straight to the hospital, the healthcare facility to be attended to. Diarrhea still remains the main symptom.
Due to the widening scale of the 2018 flooding, Nigeria has declared a national disaster, and so the federal government is now in charge of searching for, rescuing, rehabilitating, and providing humanitarian support for flood victims. But the proactiveness of that move has been called to question.
We're pricking the conscience of everybody who is in a position of leadership. Do your job right. Protect your people, because it will come back on you.
The harsh impact of climate change is not just a national concern, but a global one. Just recently, Hurricane Florence caused over $16 billion in damages to homes, businesses, and public infrastructure in the United States, while deadly landslide following Super Typhoon Mangkhut in the Philippines have buried many alive. While some of these disasters cannot be prevented, being acts of nature, they are not entirely beyond man's control.
I'm glad you brought that up, because all we need to do that is the will and the desire to do it. And that desire to do will be born of the understanding of the absolute necessity to do it. And having flooded streets in the urban area is just the beginning of the problem. If we continue down that ridiculous road, we have to change our genealogy. We have to change our attitudes and just stop all this nonsense of polluting the environment.
Ife Arono for Plus TV Africa.
Good morning and many thanks for joining us in News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. My name is Felicity Ezewike, and here are some of the stories making the headlines. President Muhammadu Buhari has warned the actors in the persistent violence in Kaduna State that mutual violence has no winners but losers on both sides of the conflict. Reacting to the endless carnage in Kaduna on Saturday, President Buhari said, I am deeply troubled by the fact that sanctity of life is now treated with such reckless disregard that people derive joy in shedding the blood of others or perceived enemies. According to the president, inhumanity has replaced compassion in the hearts and minds of the perpetrators of these atrocities. It said that while the government remains committed to protecting its citizens, the communities involved must also put their shoulder to the wheel in order to find a lasting solution. President Buhari noted that lack of cooperation by those involved might frustrate government efforts towards finding a lasting solution, especially if those efforts are politicized. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, on Saturday raided the farm of the suspected Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onoge, making away with sales books, receipt booklets, its members of staff list, and other documents. It was learned that about 9 EFCC operatives, a cameraman, and policemen in an Nissan bus marked Abuja BWR 62780 raided Wanogo Farms Limited, located in Masaka area of Nasarawa State around 3 p.m. and searched the entire premises for over 3 hours. A relative of the CJN told our correspondent that the EFCC operatives seized all the phones of the workers to prevent them from taking photographs of the operations. He said no such warrant was presented as the EFCC operatives claimed they did not need any. The suspended CJN had written a petition to the Inspector General of Police alleging that some men posing as headsmen invaded his farm on February 1, 2019, asking residents if they had witnessed any suspicious activities. It was learned that after the petition, security officials who had been carrying out surveillance of the property decided to formally search the farm. When contacted on the telephone, the EFCC spokesman, Mr. Tony Orilade, said he was not aware of the raid on Onoge's farm. The EFCC, it was learned, decided to raid Onoge's farm with a view to investigating claims by the embattled CJN that most of the monies that passed through his accounts were from his farm business. The outgoing governor of Imo State, Rochas Okorocha, has been accused by the Imo State chapter of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, of withdrawing the lump sum of 17 billion naira from different banks in the state in 3 days, revealing that much at a press conference in Owerri, the state capital. The state's PDP chairman, Mr. Charles Ezekwem, also alleged that Okorocha is also converting state property to personal use. Mr. Ezekwem, while giving a breakdown, alleged that between Tuesday, March 12 and Thursday, March 14, 2019, Okorocha made withdrawals from Access Bank, Zenith Bank, Unity Bank, Polaris Bank, among others, amounting to over 17 billion naira. The party said in the last 2 days alone, Governor Okorocha and his cronies transferred ownership and re-registered more than 150 government vehicles to individuals. Government property, including furniture and electronics in Government House, are being moved out to Oboko, Idiato South, the governor's country home. It further alleged that there was an ongoing mass employment and backdating of employment with a view to creating problems for the incoming government. The decision by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to recollate and adopt the governorship election results from the Tafawa Balewa local government area has been rejected by the All Progressive Congress, APC. Expressing its displeasure over the decision by INEC at a press conference in Bauchi on Saturday, the party stated that the action taken by the electoral body was null and void. According to Uba Ahmed Nana, the state chairman of the party, the position taken by INEC contravenes the provisions of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended. Nana said, and I quote, "Considering the latest and spirit of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended and the INEC guidelines for the 2019 general elections, only the courts and not INEC can reverse any decision taken at the collation center by the returning officer appointed for that purpose." After cancelling the supplementary governorship elections, INEC said an approval for the resumption, conclusion and announcement of the result of the Tafawa Balewa local government area in relation to the governorship election has been given. Still in the news, and ahead of the governorship supplementary elections scheduled for March 23, the Independent National Electoral Commission has assured critical stakeholders in Plateau State that it would conduct a free, fair and credible election in the affected areas. Halilu Pai, the resident electoral commissioner in the state, gave the assurance at a meeting with leaders of various political parties and other stakeholders on Saturday in Jos. The news agency of Nigeria reports that the March 9 governorship election in the state was declared inconclusive because the margin between the votes polled by the two leading candidates was less than the number of votes cancelled in some polling units. A total of 48,828 votes were cancelled across 40 polling units in 19 wards of 9 local government areas. According to Pai, the Commission has put all modalities in place to ensure that a successful and peaceful supplementary election is conducted in the affected areas. The supplementary elections will be conducted in Shandam, Kanam, Bokos, Mangu and Basa local government areas. Others include Langtang South, Pangshin, Bankin Ladi and Jos North local government areas.
This supplementary election is hate-free, and we believe when you are part of the preparation, it will be better for all of us. And as usual, arrangements are equally being made to ensure that adequate logistics arrangements are concluded.
It is for us to conclude it effectively by active participation of the political parties as well as the voters. Our sensitization will be through the radio.
The campaign organization of the APC governorship candidate in the Rivers State elections has lashed out at the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, for trying to rewrite history regarding the last governorship election held in the state. Director of Strategic Communication of the campaign, Prince Tonya Princewell, said in a statement made available to newsmen in Abuja that rather than blame the military for disruption of the exercise in the state, the commission should be aware that without the military, there would have been bloodbath in Rivers State. Describing INEC's position as ludicrous, Princewell said by the statement, INEC has refused to take any responsibility for its failures. The wife of the president, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, on Saturday visited victims of Itafaji building collapse at the Lagos Island General Hospital to sympathize with them. The wife of the president offered her condolences to the victims of the incident, which claimed the lives of no fewer than 20 people, including school children. Mrs. Buhari, who took time to visit women and children wards of the hospital, wished them speedy recovery and prayed to God to grant the families that lost loved ones the fortitude to bear the loss. Chief Medical Director of the hospital, Dr. Gani Kale, said 10 children were admitted in the hospital after the incident. According to him, 3 out of the patients have been discharged, having certified their medical fitness. Wife of the president, who was accompanied to the hospital by former military administrator of Lagos State, retired Brigadier General Buba Marwa, and former Deputy Governor of Plateau State, Pauline Talon, among others. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, says no casualty was recorded in the building collapse that occurred in Ibadan, Oyo State. 8 men were said to have been in the 3-story building at the time of the collapse on Friday. And after frantic efforts by emergency rescue officials and residents in the area, 6 persons were initially rescued. Later that evening, an evacuator arrived to continue the search through the rubble. After a long search, the remaining 2 men were rescued at about 1 a.m. and immediately taken to the University College Hospital, UCH, in Ibadan.
The place was crowded, even to gain access. Some of our staff were stoned. So it's frightening when you want to rescue and people have taken over. I know they are angry because of what happened, but I think we need more awareness creation among ourselves.
To get in touch with the owner, we are going to get all necessary information from him, and he's cooperating. We will go to the depth of it. We want to be able to identify any lapses, if there is any, and the root cause of the failure.
The Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, on Friday apologized to Nigerians over the suspension of the Iju-Abeokuta free train ride during the 2019 general elections. Amechi tendered the apology during the monthly rail inspection of the Lagos-Ibadan modernization project in Ibadan. He said that the China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation suspended the 3-month free train ride due to security and safety of passengers. The minister explained that part of the safety concerns include the non-completion of the second line. Stressing the importance of rail transportation, Amechi said the economy of Nigeria will be boosted if the seaport is linked to the hinterland. International Women's Day celebration, originally marked on the 8th of March annually, has continued across different parts of Nigeria and organizations to highlight the role of women in the society. The United Nations Information Center in Lagos, in collaboration with the Cameroon Consulate in Lagos, celebrates the day. Our correspondent, Amaka Okoye, was there and brings us more.
The celebration of the International Women's Day has continued to spread across. Today, the Consulate General of Cameroon in Lagos, in partnership with the United Nations Information Center, marked the day with the theme Think Equal, Build Smart, Innovate for Change, emphasizing the critical role of women.
Do things that are out of the box. Do a little thing somewhere. And you know, all the panelists just say that save if you have to save. If you think it is not going right, do something in order for it to go out. That is where the innovation part comes in. You have to innovate to make things better. And women do that every day. Women are gifted in doing that.
While addressing the participants, United Nations Information Center Director praised women and urged that more women be appointed to positions of authority.
The affirmative action in leadership, what I've been talking about is, it's a decision you make. If I'm voted governor of a state, think equal. Think that I should have equal women in my cabinet as men. It is as simple as that. We don't have to have conferences anymore. We've had these conferences. There have been these discussions for so long that can women really do things that men can do? You know, in the past, people didn't think that a woman can be a pilot, or a woman can be an engineer, or a woman can be... We are beyond that. Now we just need to work on what we know to implement gender parity.
The panel sessions focused on issues affecting women at all levels. Participants share their thoughts on the events.
It's the first time we're having this event at the Cameroon Council, because now we're delighted we have a female council. So we set out to bring women of all nationalities together. So if you look, you'll see the Togolese women are here, Burkina Faso, Cameroonian, Nigerians, everywhere. And the idea is to bring them all together, exchange views and minds on what the endless possibilities are for women.
Because we are 50% of the world's population, and so we need to really make sure that we rally together. And for me, it's an important day. It's important to meet other Cameroonians, know what we do. We have business booths, we have health booths, we have exhibitions outside, just to see that there are many Cameroonian ladies, even in Lagos, to share and develop our networks. And I think it's just a great day to be a woman.
In the end, women were challenged to be assertive in their role as the foundation of the society. For Plus TV Africa, Amaka Okoye.
The need for women to continue to explore technology in entrepreneurship was the focus in the first tech exhibition to celebrate women in tech space in Lagos. Our correspondent Mary Chinda brings us more.
It's a gathering of some of the finest women in the tech industry in Lagos. It is to mark the International Women's Day. Put together by Tech Cabal and Access Bank, this exhibition is an attempt to showcase and encourage Nigerian women doing great in the tech space.
Because technology is a traditionally male-dominated sector, and there's not enough examples of women for people to look up to and say that I can also be someone that can pursue a career in technology. And we really wanted to give these people a platform so that people can see them and be inspired by their journeys and say that I too can pursue a career in technology, regardless of the fact that I'm a girl or a woman.
We'll take a short break, and when we come back, the news continues. To stay with us. You're watching News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. Identifying the remains of the 157 people killed in an Ethiopian Airlines plane crash may take up to 6 months, the airline said in a document seen by AFP on Saturday. Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 plummeted into a field minutes after taking off from Addis Ababa bound for Nairobi last Sunday, killing all on board. The disaster led to worldwide grounding of Boeing 737 MAX 8 aircraft, the plane that crashed. Witnesses said the plane nosedived into remote farmland southeast of the Ethiopian capital, reducing the plane to small pieces of debris buried deep in the earth. People of 35 nationalities were killed in the crash. In a document distributed by the airline to family members who lost loved ones in the crash, Ethiopian Airlines laid out a timetable for the return of victims' belongings and the distribution of death certificates. The crash of Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 was the second deadly incident for the 737 MAX 8 following the October crash of an Indonesian Lion Air jet that killed all 189 passengers and crew. At least 43 people died in central Mozambique and Zimbabwe after a tropical cyclone tore through the southern African nations, knocking out electricity and phone networks and cutting power to South Africa from a hydropower dam. The storm, the worst to hit Mozambique in at least a decade, had wind speeds for more than 200 kilometers per hour before it made landfall early Friday. The storm damaged the Mozambican transmission line in South Africa, cutting supplies by 900 megawatts and worsening an electricity shortage in South Africa. Power utility Eskom on Saturday pumped up rational load, shedding from stage 2 to stage 4 due to a shortage of capacity exacerbated by the loss of 900 megawatts from Mozambique FIN24. Flooding in the region affected by the storm had already killed more than 60 people. While the storm has dissipated since crossing over land, there is still heavy rains over Mozambique and eastern Zimbabwe. At least 19 people died in Mozambique, according to the government, while a further 24 perished in Zimbabwe, state-owned Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation reported. We'll take a short break and when we'll come back, we'll bring you stories from the foreign scene. Stay with us.
This Medan has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
We now start hearing the shoot of guns.
Whatever I've done.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
An update on the New Zealand's mosque shooting. We understand that bodies of some of the victims in the shooting will be released on Sunday to loved ones for burial, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has said. This comes as the death toll rose to 50 with the discovery of another body by the police. Australian Brenton Tarrant, who is 28, a suspect white supremacist, was charged with murder on Saturday. Tarrant was remanded without a plea and is due back in court on April 5, where police said he was likely to face more charges. Friday's attack, which Ardern labelled terrorism, was the worst ever peacetime mass killing in New Zealand, and it has raised the insecurity threat level to the highest. Footage of the attack on one of the mosques in the city of Christchurch was broadcast live on Facebook, and a manifesto denouncing immigrants as invaders was also posted online via links to related social media accounts. Huge piles of flowers were laid at sites near the mosque, and passerbys of all faiths stopped to pay respects. Aden said police would be posted at all mosques while they are open. Police Commissioner Mike Bush said the body of the 50th victim was found at the A1 Noor Mosque, where more than 40 people died after a gunman entered and shot at people with a semi-automatic rifle with high-capacity magazines before traveling to a second mosque. Flash floods in Indonesia's easternmost province of Papua have killed at least 50 people and badly injured dozens of others. The town of Sentani, near the provincial capital Jayapura, was hit by flash floods triggered by torrential rain on Saturday, National Disaster Agency spokesman Sutopo Purwo said in a statement. A search operation was still underway, he warned that the death toll could rise. At least 9 houses, 2 bridges and a twin outer plane packed at the region's main airport were damaged by the floods. But the Sentani airport, the province's main transport hub, remains open. Disaster authorities have warned local governments of flash flood risk due to deforestation in the mountains surrounding the town. More than 120 residents who had taken shelter at government offices after their homes were hit by the floods, the disaster agency said earlier. Prime Minister Theresa May warned lawmakers that unless they approve a Brexit divorce deal after 2 crushing defeats, Britain's exit from the European Union could face a long delay and could involve taking part in European Parliament elections. After 2.5 years of tortuous divorce negotiations with the EU, the final outcome is still uncertain, with options including a long delay, exiting with May's deal, a disorderly exit without a deal, or even another referendum. May issued Brexit supporters an ultimatum: ratify her deal by a European Council summit on March 21 or face a delay to Brexit way beyond June 30 that would open up the possibility that the divorce could be ultimately thwarted. The Prime Minister bluntly warned that Britain will be forced to take part in European parliamentary elections expected to take place at the end of May if there is a longer extension to Brexit talks. EU leaders will consider pressing Britain to delay Brexit by at least a year to find a way out of the domestic maelstrom, though there is a shock and growing impatience at the political chaos in London. Up next is our business news. 4 states, namely Benue, Delta, Kogi and Ondo, have indicated a slow-paced growth in food prices according to reports from the National Bureau of Statistics. Likewise, Consumer Goods Price Index also dropped to 11.31% in February. According to the report, year-on-year CPI, which measures inflation, was lower by 0.06 percentage points, lower than the 11.37% rate recorded in January. Urban inflation rate also increased by 11.59% year-on-year in February, from 11.66% recorded in January, while the rural inflation rate increased by 11.05% in February, from 11.11% in January 2019. Still in business, the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council has made public its mobile app and online application for public service feedback and complaints. The platform is expected to enable business owners to escalate and resolve challenges encountered with ministries, departments and agencies for a seamless business-friendly environment. The app was launched by Okechukwu Enalema, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Adedotun Suleiman, Chairman, Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, and Jumoke Oduwole, SSA to the President on Industry, Trade and Investment. The BEC was established in July 2016 to remove delays and restrictions that come with doing business in Nigeria and make the country an easier place to start and grow a business. It is also supported by Executive Order 001 EO1 signed in 2017 to promote transparency and efficiency in the business environment. Still ahead on Plus TV African News is a roundup on entertainment and sports. We're back in a moment. Stay with us. Veteran actor and comedian Babatunde Omidina, popularly known as Babasuwe, has been discharged from Lagos University Teaching Hospital. Actor Yomi Fabiyi confirms the news in an Instagram post. He wrote, "I can confirm to you that efforts to quickly stabilize and or completely treat him to full wellness by medical experts at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital at the instance of Minister of Health are yielding positive results, as Babasuwe can now walk without the stick, less pain, and is getting better. He will, however, proceed abroad very soon to further his treatment." We certainly wish him a speedy recovery. And that's it on entertainment. Sports is up next, and Samson is standing by.
In sports, the quarterfinals of the FA Cup produced classics with lots of goals scored. Watford and Wolverhampton Wanderers had convincing wins over Crystal Palace and Manchester United respectively to move into the semis, while Manchester City came from a 2-goal deficit to controversially edge Swansea City. Here are the highlights. And that's it on Sports Updates. I'm Samson Oluide.
Thank you, Samson. And that's our news roundup of events at this hour. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel that is also at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. So please join us again. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely day.
Welcome to another special episode of One-on-One with Ladies in Tech, as we at Plus TV Africa are celebrating Women in Partnership with Tech Cabal. My name is Elsie Godwin. On this episode, we start with this interesting conversation with IZ, where she talked about zero entry barrier in the digital marketing business, balancing personal and professional life, and so much more. IZ is Director of Marketing, PR, and Growth. She is a graduate of biochemistry. With 13 years postgraduate experience in marketing, she has spent the last 5 years changing the digital landscape through her work, using digital for advocacy and helping startups promote their business through digital. She has worked for and with multi-millionaire brands, both international and local, developing and working on a number of creative digital and offline marketing strategies to propel their brand forward. Thank you, Isaac, for joining us on Plus TV Africa as we celebrate this beautiful month for women. So, I mean, I understand your job, what you do. You are typically, or a typical digital marketer. Like, you create content, you create ideas, and you make sure they run through and provide results. So I understand how challenging this can be, because I do a bit of that too. And then you have to always be on your phone, on your system. You have to be able to track this results and be sure whoever you are delegating them to are doing the right thing. So it is time consuming sometimes.
Yes, it is.
How do you balance it up with your personal life? I know you have a child and work, and you're almost everywhere.
Yeah. Okay, so I know it sounds cliche, but my work is my life. So I've sort of integrated, my entire life is built around my work, such that there's no balancing. Working is living, living is working, and we take it one day at a time. These days I'm more of a strategist than I am a marketer. So I'm typically just doing strategies and managing and consultancy work.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I've been able to work it out such that, you know, my life is work, work is life. It's in and around. I can actually do my work sitting in the toilet. I can do my work in the kitchen.
Now, because we can bring in work to the house now, there is no boundaries. And you can't say this is the time where I'm chilling or this is the time when I'm working. You're almost working every time.
Yes, my chill can be work. Okay. My chilling can be work. So sometimes I'm cooking and doing something in the kitchen, and I'm looking, oh, okay, and I'm tracking some sort of results. So digital marketing is such that you can do it from anywhere, and you can do it, you know, while you're having like a personal life, or you can do it while you're working. So I guess finding the balance for me has been sort of just integrating both sides, personal and work.
Have you ever felt like quitting? And at those points, because I'm not going to wait for a yes or no, how did you keep going?
Some days you feel like quitting. Sometimes you feel like quitting every day. How did we keep going? We remember that we have school fees to pay.
So money is the motivation.
We remember that we have rents to pay. Not necessarily money, but the thing with digital marketing is it's a constantly evolving industry. It's a constantly evolving job. So you tend to, you know, find the good in the tough, and then hope that tides you on to the next tough season, and then you keep going. But mostly these days it's been more interesting than, I mean, earlier on I wanted to quit almost every day, but these days it's, you know, finding what's interesting about this day and then just going on with it.
Okay, so we know technology is the future of Africa.
It is the
future.
It is the now of Africa, actually.
Are we catching up that fast?
We have to.
Or are we right now? Do you think we are measuring up, or we are leveling up?
I think that the faster we level up, the more there's like a brain drain happening. So we level up and then they take the top devs. So we level up and then the top devs go to Europe, to USA, to UK. We are giving the resources that we have at our disposal. We are doing our best at the moment. It is the now of Africa. Technology is not the future. It is, I mean, if we don't have technology right now, there's little that we can do, and so we need to catch up as fast as possible.
In leveling up, in doing our best, are women involved enough?
Women are as involved as they can be, but there's still so much to do. It's typically why I have some bit of focus on bridging the digital gender divide, and, you know, doing a lot of training with women around how they can use digital media to boost their businesses and how they can connect and network globally and, you know, improve on whatever it is they're doing. Women are doing their best given the circumstances, but there's so much to do, so much. I mean, we're not 10% there yet, but we're...
Would you want to break down this so much?
What I mean by so much is there's still a lot of people to reach, especially with regards to people in the areas that have little or no technology yet, especially digital. So there's still so much people to reach. There's even in Lagos, last year I did a digital marketing training for business women. We typically just went to like the market. We went to like Oshodi Axis or Jota, and we had a lot of women sign up, and we trained them on how to use digital marketing to do their business. And I was shocked that there are people who haven't heard of Facebook. It's in Lagos. That was like first touch point. That was like first introduction to like world of digital marketing. We connected a lot of people to Facebook, to other social media channels, and we told them how they can promote their businesses on social. The thing is, a lot of them caught on faster than we thought. We typically thought it would take longer, maybe like a month or two, but in 2 classes, 3 classes, they were
But these women, they had smartphones.
They had phones.
Not smartphones.
Not all had smartphones.
Okay.
We were able to get a lot of them on social. We were able to get them in groups, in communities that would help them promote their businesses. And we've gotten quite a lot of like interesting feedback. Some people are selling handmade beads outside the country. They're selling in the US. They're selling, and they are like, oh my God, what have we been doing since? That's exactly the thought we had when we tried to get them online. So there's a lot to do in terms of bridging the digital gender divide.
Okay, so if you could, what advice would you give yourself 5 years ago?
Work-wise or relationship?
Both, now that you brought relationships. So tell us work and then tell us relationship.
Work-wise, I would say just take it easy. Everything good will come. Because 5 years ago was about the time I got into digital. I was in a state of constant. I can't even place it. I was worried about being able to make it in the industry. I was worried about doing enough to make it. And it's been a good run for the past 5 years.
Okay.
Relationship-wise, nah.
No, you brought it, so you have to tell me.
Damn that idiot. No, but 5 years ago, relationship-wise, it's just the same like work. Everything good will come. So
you promote tech products. I mean, I know you're a digital marketer, but I think your core has really been promoting some products that has to do with tech, either via movements or something that has to do with tech that is basically changing the lives of citizens. So what is the most fascinating thing when you have to promote a tech product? Yeah, for you, I mean, me, from experience.
I tend to promote a lot of things besides tech products, but yes, I have a lot of experience promoting tech products. And for me, it's the most fascinating thing for me in digital marketing is actually turning a skeptic to a believer. It's an amazing thing to watch. It's cool, really. So you meet somebody who will swear, I will never use that product, no, ever, never. And then pretty soon you've sold them, and then they're using the product, and not only using the product, they're telling other people this is the best thing to do. So fascinating to watch that transformation about how you tell a story and about a product that people just buy into and people want to use without necessarily saying come and buy. So I know that if you push things in people's face, come and buy, they tend to, but when you tell a story and